Hey, my amigo Sal, how are you doing? This is your friend Daniel Suarez here. First of all, I want to say big happy birthday. I hope you are having an amazing time with all your family, with your friends, with all your amigos.
That guy just won.
Yeah, he did.
I won yesterday. Wild finish at Atlanta. And kind of made people like me eat my words about that track a little bit with how that second half of the race performed. We've got Ryan, Tegan, Sally here right now. Matt will be joining us, I believe, later in the show, as will Kevron. So we'll have them and we'll get their thoughts. But completely unprecedented finish. I can't tell you if I've seen a three wide finish before. Well, Talladega 2011 was sort of three wide finish, but not that close. Gordon was a little bit behind Boyer and Johnson. But the last half of that race was unreal. We'll go around the horn here, get all of your thoughts. Ooh, new thing we're introducing. We're reintroducing. This is here on the first episode. We're bringing it back. We have a ticker. It looks nice, I think. I put some stuff. Like, wait, keep going. Like, okay, keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. I mean, this ticker could be informative. Oh, here we go.
Illegal gloves. Ayo.
We've got Kevron here.
What's up?
Stream Kevron, we just started. Now let's go around the horn now. We'll go Ryan, Sal, Kevron, then Tegan. Y'all, give me your thoughts on that Atlanta race.
First half of the race was second half of the race was fantastic. Three wide finish. I haven't seen that in forever. And it was
Ever.
It was
race.
When?
It was at Daytona. That was a truck race. Back probably before you were born, to be honest. Is it the year you were born or a couple months before you were born? I was thinking maybe 2003. Pretty sure Rick Crawford was involved in that one. So
not a good guy. I didn't know he was not a good guy last time we mentioned him, but I was informed about that.
Yeah. But it was that close of a finish. I mean, I was out of my seat as they were coming to the line. I thought for a minute Blaney had it because he had probably the proper line, but Suarez had enough momentum on the outside where he got him. It was just a fantastic finish. And I think for at least the Cup cars, they run so much better there, where the Xfinity cars, no.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's the Xfinity cars being the problem. I just don't think anybody was making real moves in that race.
I don't blame the drivers. I blame the cars.
You think so?
I think we had this issue last year at that race with those cars.
Yeah.
So I remember bitching about the same damn thing last year in Xfinity at Atlanta. They just do not suck up good at Atlanta. They put on the better show at Daytona, and it's the opposite with the Cup car. They put on the better show at Atlanta. So I guess it's a nice
track
trade-off.
just suited for Cup, like
a little bit, but it's going to get to where they're going to have to do something about this package because it's getting some wear and tear, and they can't full throttle, and that kind of defeats the purpose of being able to draft. If you're lifting because the car gets in front of you and tightens your front end up, there's no point in drafting. You can't draft. You were lifting, so it's good for now. The ending, we're never going to get a good race in the first two stages. Everybody's supposed to be taking care of their shit, except for the ones that don't know how. But eventually we're going to have to go full horsepower again. With NASCAR standards, not our standards, obviously, but NASCAR standards, we're going to have to go back to 550, in my opinion.
You mean? Oh, so 550? I think they're around. What are they at?
Are they more than that?
Speedway 510.
510 sounds about right.
So they would be at 670 with the 1.5-mile package.
Well, it sounds even better to me now. Hell, I was thinking we still in the 550 package. I said let it rip.
Yeah. I agree. I think that, that's going to be a tough sell to a lot of people after what we saw yesterday.
I think you get a couple of good years out of it, but I don't think this is something we're going to get used to. Do not expect this when we go back there in July. It's actually going to be hot and it's going to be all over the place.
Yeah.
which I think is
It's
a
going to
good
be
thing. I think that
times
could
worse. I don't think they're going to be able to keep up with each other. We're going to see some breakaway.
Yeah, but I don't think that's a bad thing. That's kind of old school style super speedway racing, you know.
Yeah.
But the whole point
Where-
of this is for the fans to have 20 cars at the finish, not 2 or 3. If we were going to do 2 and 3, we should have just stayed at the old Atlanta.
Yeah.
Right. But I will say the summer Atlanta race has performed better than the other ones
But it's
the
going to have
last
to.
2 years.
Yeah. Well, it's
It's
not
got a
going
lot
to
to live
this
up
year.
to right now.
It's not
though.
going to this year unless it's a 4-wide finish.
Hello,
All
Harris.
right.
Clearly, he likes you better than me.
He knows who signs that fourth paycheck.
Yep.
Sally, I know you are pumped from your birthday wish buddy, Daniel Suarez, fellow Mexican. Exactly. Fellow Mexican. Tell me your thoughts on the race in total. Because I feel like you were a guy that wasn't as anti this configuration of Atlanta as some of us were.
I wasn't too hard. Because I know a bunch of people right off the rip started, oh, this sucks and all that. I didn't think the racing the last year and a half had been good since they got the new reconfiguration. I thought last July was an absolute banger.
Yeah.
And then this one, I'm more on the same boat as you guys. I thought the first half kind of stunk. I mean,
Yeah.
we were talking about it, and I was literally doing homework at the same time, kind of just having it on as background noise.
I dozed off literally in the first 50 laps. Got up, washed dishes, decided to wash my shoes and some clothes. So the first stage, I was doing some like chores and shit before I finally sat down and actually paid attention. So
that dude, whenever I started getting locked into that race was when green flag stop started, because I think that was the first time they've had to use it, right?
Yeah.
Green.
I was like, okay, this is chaos, and I'm ready for
Definitely.
it. And we did have a bit of chaos there.
I think so. I think McDowell. I think there's a bump in that transition where they thought it was the brakes. I saw a little bit of smoke when he hit the brakes. I think he hit a bump that upset the car.
Yeah.
There's bumps already on that racetrack that they've already patched on the racing surface.
Yeah.
So they probably need to patch some shit down on the pit road entry because that's probably going to happen again.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But and those last like 50 laps were some of the best racing I've ever seen. That was, and I know I told most of y'all that was the most I've yelled at a television because of a NASCAR race since Chase got his championship in 2020.
Yeah.
I jumped out of my seat. We were eating dinner. I was yelling. I called my mom, my grandpa after. All of us were so excited. It was awesome.
That's awesome.
I say we run 35 races here and run the championship at like Homestead or something. I'm here for this.
Yeah. Well, I think it would be a very cool. I saw this theory on Twitter, and it kind of made me interested about this idea. It'll never happen because NASCAR is never going to go away from this. But I saw something of if we had a 36 race championship format, season long points, to finish the season at Atlanta, to make it be like guys want to get it locked up before they get there. I don't think it's unfair because the points in that instance, Atlanta would count the same if it was race 6 or race 36.
But if you go down there, there's 3 guys going for the championship at Atlanta. It's a shit show between those 3 guys. Like it don't take much for you to wreck somebody and be like, "Oh, that's just plate racing." Sorry, about your luck while you're always in the trophy. So no, that's you literally said it best during the first 2 stages. This is artificial racing, and it is. That would still be to me a Mickey Mouse artificial championship. It's no different than saying ended at Daytona and we're at Talladega. If you're going to do it that way, it's no different.
And I will absolutely eat my words. You know, I was not into this. I am about as much of a hater of this idea as you'll find. Because I loved traditional classic Atlanta. And, while it was getting, it wasn't as great there towards the end before the reconfiguration. There were some good races, some bad ones. Harvick liked to stink up the show a lot there. But I think this is a great outcome for them. Do I wish they could have kept Atlanta the way they did and maybe done what they did to Texas?
Just repaved it.
Just maybe did this to Texas, which was broken. Maybe that wouldn't have
It's
been
still
the worst
broken.
thing. Yeah. I'm a little worried they might do that to Texas. But I think
hope not.
that this is fine. Like 6 is stretching it a little bit, I think. I don't think we
To
need
be
any more
honest,
than this.
I wouldn't care to see Atlanta go down to one race and make it back another 500-mile race. That's just my opinion.
With the action, because this is going to sell tickets in the summer or in September, whenever it is. I think that it's got to be 2 races for the investment they put into this reconfiguration there. And after what we saw Sunday, it's hard for me to argue against it being 2 races right now because that performed better than Daytona or Talladega have with this car.
I can't say much about Talladega. I think Talladega does put on some good bangers. It's Daytona.
Talladega's been putting on a lot of good races lately
It's
and
Daytona.
fantastic finishes. So,
but
especially the fall race.
When they took away the horsepower, I feel like that's where more of your snooze fest of plate races came from Talladega than compared to back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Add the horsepower back into
that's our
it.
biggest thing is the horsepower thing every week.
Yeah, we always complain about the horsepower.
Well, it's the biggest problem. But to me, the Gen 6 Daytona Talladega is way better than the next gen Daytona and Talladega.
I can't agree to that.
By a lot, I think. I enjoyed that so much more.
I don't think it's really close, yeah.
No. But I think Atlanta is really shining with this next gen car. I wish we could find a balance where maybe we run different packages at
just don't get used to it. This track's it's wearing it quickly.
Yeah. But
we may come back next year and it may be a total fucking snooze fest because they can't even hold it wide open and suck up to another. And we're gonna be on this pod completely saying opposite shit than we are today, and we're not gonna remember a fucking
thing. It could easily be it during the summer race because
it won't be during the summer, but it would really have to be really fucking hot for the summer race to be a shit show. Because I do think this racetrack got better as it got darker Sunday.
Oh yeah,
that's when the racing picked up.
Yep.
This is one of the few rare exceptions where the racing got better with nighttime because it gave them more grip. That is the problem with this car at this track. They're going way too fast with no grip. So when it got nighttime, they gained that grip and and then the speed kind of stayed there. So I think it's a night race in the summer, right?
It
No.
should be.
Well, last year it was. Was it because of rain?
It's not a night race again.
Okay, so then it's gonna be hot as fuck. Last year it ended not, but I think it might have been because of rain.
No, it was scheduled to be a night race last year. It was like a 5 o'clock start.
On a Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Labor Day race, right?
Mid-afternoon Sunday race.
No, that's Darlington. That's the Southern 500.
It's September 8th at 3 o'clock.
So, but we're going to be
the
getting
same time.
Yeah.
We'll see if we have as many cautions as we did. With,
I think we do. These cars are just uncontrollable. Like Brad, you look at Brad, and he just. I mean, hard to explain it good. Like you get that air on that front end a certain way because you have to poke out, you're gone. Yeah. But you have to do that where you're not turning. So, I mean, Harvick proved again invaluable in the booth this weekend because Clint ain't been in this car. So, like, Harvick knows because he literally got spun from the fucking lead last year by Boss Chastain. So,
it happened to your guy too.
Yeah,
I know, right? Last year, remember going for the lead. At least my guy was taking the lead and got fucking wrecked by his ass. So
the guy wrecked my guy when he was a lap down.
Here we go.
He was 2 laps down when Chase got wrecked.
I think the sun got in his eye, not his eyes, his eye.
Because one of them is so cross-eyed, it's ridiculous.
Some guys want to say Chase is cross-eyed. I mean, look at Chastain.
No,
hey, Spencer. Kevron, your thoughts on the race?
Well, pretty much similar to you all's. Your anger towards Ross Chastain taking out Chase Elliott there is equivalent to my anger at NASCAR screwing up the configuration of Atlanta. To me, I'm not
I
going to
agree.
go back and eat my words like you are, Mike. Man, no offense. I wish we went back to the old Atlanta, but I'm an old dude, so old hearts, are stubborn to change.
Yeah.
I get the product. I do. I understand, and it adds.
They ruined a good track.
They really did.
It's like Mike said, they should have done it at Texas. It's
Yeah.
the same owners.
I completely agree with that. If they done that with the likes of Texas, that they have continuously had trouble out of making good races out of since 1997 of all the.
Well, to be honest, Texas was putting on good races until they repaved it too.
Till they
And
repaved
reconfigured
it. Yep.
And
Reconfigured
trying to
it.
make it like Kentucky,
Yeah. And they both lost a race. I mean, Kentucky's not even on the schedule at all anymore. So
yeah.
they ruined them both.
But
The same guy.
seeing the 3 wide battle to the finish there, Tegan already touched on it. When the sun went down, the grip got higher, the speeds were a little bit faster. It put on a lot better racing than at the beginning. And so I don't think if we were to have finished that race in the sun, we would have seen the same type of racing as we did. But I enjoyed the second half for sure. I don't know if anybody did not, and if they are, they're probably a war criminal. So
Yeah,
I'll leave
you're
it
not.
at that.
Yeah, we have some war criminals.
If you didn't enjoy that, I don't know what you should go watch. Bowling. Sorry,
I
Ryan.
enjoyed the finish. And that's about it. The finish saved that race, in my opinion.
I don't think it's. I thought the last stage was one of the most insane races I've seen, and about as fun as I've had watching NASCAR in a while. And I understand that we all want the old Atlanta back, but I think that what happened on Sunday I think what happened on Sunday could prove to be huge for NASCAR's mainstream momentum. You have the Netflix show come out a couple of weeks ago that did do, I'd say, pretty well. You have Daytona. This is the first race of the year scheduled when it was supposed to be. Maybe somebody tuned into Daytona for the first time and, liked what they saw. Oh, I'll watch next week. And they see what they saw at the end of this race. They see a 3-wide finish, which also, you got to think, I see it all over my Instagram feed, all over my Twitter feed, and from accounts that I've never seen post about NASCAR before. And so that is popping up on probably everybody's feed. Bleacher Report, very big sports account on an app. They posted about it, compared it to the Cars finish, which was my first reaction. I said Kyle Busch should have stuck his tongue out right after the finish. But I think that's huge, especially people that maybe watch the series, said, "Oh, this is cool," but didn't tune in, and they see what happened, yesterday at Atlanta, and they go, "Oh, wow, I've got to watch this," or watch the highlights of it, and the highlights were insane.
But are those the fans that are going to stay though? And when we have a couple snooze fests here coming up, Atlanta's not going to happen every weekend.
That's a great point, but we enjoy the mile and a halves on this car. And Las Vegas has performed well the last few years, regardless of the package, I'd say. So, I think it could be an exciting race. It'll be definitely a different look than if you're a new fan and you've watched the first 2 weeks of the year. But I think it could be a good thing. We'll see what the ratings are for Atlanta. But I'm going to guess that the ratings next week for Las Vegas will be up on at least the last few years after what we saw on Sunday and the momentum the sport has through Netflix. But that's just my opinion. I don't know if y'all agree with that. But I think we'll see some of the best ratings out of Las Vegas, or whatever the third race slot, which usually is Las Vegas. I think we'll see some of the best ratings from that we have in recent years. In all honesty, though, Atlanta hadn't put on a good race in 4 or 5 years before the remodel. I wouldn't say that. I think that has something to do with the 550 package being part of 3 of those years, which was not good. There was that year where there was that fun little late battle between Larson and Blaney. And the Kurt. Yeah, you were there. Wow. Was that a good race in person?
I mean, it kind of gets lost in the memories. especially with Atlanta because there's a lot of Harvick races that got lost. So
27.
Tend to jump them all up.
Were you there in 18 or no? You weren't.
No, I didn't get to go because it rained so much. We didn't think it was going to get it in, so we didn't go, and they ended up running that bitch. Oh, I was so mad.
Yeah.
I was so mad. And then when
And
he turned
he
around and done that
dominated that
3-finger thing, I was even more pissed. Oh
Yeah.
my god, I was so mad
He-
after that race. I didn't
He
sleep good for the whole week
dominated
after
that race.
I would bet. That was like the stretch where he was dominating that track, and you had the whole Harvick
And then losing the race.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He played with everybody there.
Yeah.
They were saying
Wasn't
like
that the one after he got penalized
in
F-
The year
17.
before he sped on the last stop
Yeah.
Yep.
after leading like 300 something or like 280 something laps out of the 300 they were running. So
Yeah. But
Can't do that.
He lived at the quarter-mile track. Like he was lifting there.
and there was a
And-
possibility that I was going to go to 2020 and they
COVID.
literally sent them packing after they got there that weekend.
Yeah.
I had an option of going with a friend. So when they sent them home packing and they didn't run that race till June and they didn't let no fans in, that was another one gone. So
Yeah. And he won that, right?
Yeah.
he won that one too.
So that's tough. At least you got to see him win. Where was it? Bristol that year?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good.
2020, yeah.
So proud of you,
Yeah.
Tegan.
Yeah. Shout out Tegan. Bradley in here. The 38 is a dumbass. I agree. He raced like an idiot all race. So did Austin Cindric.
Austin Cindric was not that bad. We give him shit because of his name, and I agree. But he was no different than Brad or Joey out there like that yesterday to me.
He made some crazy.
And the 38 wasn't either. The 38 was fucking fast. He just the first lap he checked the field up trying to let his teammate in. I mean,
Yeah,
we
he has a
all do
fast
it in
car.
our league racing. It's no
Now.
different.
Yeah.
No, the one that
And
was
for
Good
for
point.
Josh fucking Williams to get out of his car and say, I thought I left ARCA years ago. I hope that motherfucker gets stuck out of that car. He gets a fucking shot of a lifetime. And I agree, it's shitty to get involved in the wreck, but to get out and call the cup driver that's been doing this for years. ARCA drivers,
Yeah, no.
they all should have lined him up and whooped his ass right down the front stretch where he parked it a year ago. Just for shit and giggles. For all the fans to enjoy. So I hope he gets raced.
That
like
would have
the
been a
fucking
hell of-
bitch that he is. That's just my honest opinion.
And that's his
That killed me
first,
with him.
first points cup race.
Yeah.
I mean, what does that motherfucker think he's going to go out there and just fucking wheel it to the fucking win? I mean, he ain't that fucking good. He can
He's
go
so-
suck a fucking rope is what he can go fucking do.
So
Ooh.
I have
And
to
dip
ask,
it in kerosene.
I have to ask this question because there's Bradley also said the 14 was an idiot. Who's
Yeah,
at fault?
I
I
think
was gonna
14
pull
was
that
doing
out,
what
yeah.
he had to do with the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had that car
Yeah, he-
fucking.
It was one of those things where you were thinking he was either gonna wheel this to get up there to win, or he was gonna wreck it, and he wrecked it already.
Yeah.
He did that a lot in 2022 where he knew he had the car and just got way too over aggressive.
I don't think the wreck was his fault though. You know.
No, it was the winner's fault.
Yeah.
So I don't even blame the winner just because the 14 got the bump at the
It
same
was
time the
air.
99 went low. So
Yeah.
when I look back at it, I was looking at it's purely a racing deal. I can't
Yeah.
blame either driver.
I don't think he
also
even got
wanna-
hit. I just thought it was air.
Oh,
I think the 11 hit him.
yeah,
I
I
somebody
thought
hit
the
him
11
from behind,
but
Yeah.
or
Or
so,
from the side.
but for the 14 to wheel an ill handling car that was still that fast though, kind of gave me a little bit of Earnhardt flashbacks.
Let's
Yeah.
not go that far.
Now
His
I'm
car
going
was
that
trimmed
far.
out.
It-
His
I
car
wanna
was
go
trimmed
for the-
out.
But for the product of the vehicle or the race cars that they have today, I mean, to me, they kind of gave me a little bit of an Earnhardt, memory. Like, man, this guy, he doesn't have the best car, but he's still out here fighting for the top 5 and trying to get the lead. And that car's as sideways as it can be.
Let's be honest. I think the track is an equalizer.
That was also a really big
Yeah.
thing. With
Oh, for
Bristol
sure.
Last year,
yeah.
he would be running with BJ McLeod all race, and then all of a sudden be in the top 15, lower top 10s at the end. of the
PJ
race.
McLeod.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
man.
he drives the 14 whose driver was also aggressive when he had a shot at anything, no matter how his car was handling. So
Look at Harris
Spencer's
stirring the pot.
favorite driver, Ross.
Stirring the pot.
His
You know
other
what?
favorite driver, Chase Elliott.
Say this. Ross Chastain is an idiot, okay?
okay, there's
Somebody
Shit stain.
ought to smash a watermelon over his head. All right?
Might fix his fucking eye.
It could. And maybe it'll rewire some things in his brain so he learns how to drive. All right?
But nobody's ever done that, Marty. I'm the first one to do that, Marty. Wreck Chase
That was-
Elliott. No, he's not. Matter of fact, he's done it twice now. So
he's a heel.
Yeah.
I don't think he's heel anymore. You can't be heel when you're doing the same shit every fucking week. It just becomes that Ross. It's like it's a TV show that you watched and you watch the same episode every week. Ross Chastain fucking somebody right in the asshole.
It's like a sitcom bit. It's
Well,
like in
yeah.
Cheers. Norm.
That's
You know,
Ross.
Tegan, if you remember this, it was 2006 at Michigan practice. Tony Stewart was behind David Gilliland of all people, and
Called him an idiot,
plows him to
right?
the back of the 38 and calls the kid an idiot when they interviewed him.
Yeah.
So pretty much take Tony Stewart's quote on that across Ross Chastain, Todd Gilliland, and a couple other drivers. I'm not going to
pretty
put
sure
the
Tony
14
Stewart
in.
called a lot of people idiots. So
He also wanted to bust
Yeah.
Joey Logano's ass.
Hey, our water being thrown at him though, I would try to go after him too. So,
Yeah.
I
did hear about this.
That was funny.
I didn't hear about that. I heard.
Sounded like he liked it too.
Now
Yeah.
that's the first time he's done it, though. I'll give him credit. I think
I
it's
mean, it
disgusting
sounded
that a
weird.
driver can piss themselves. But apparently it was hurting him so bad he had to. And that's the first time he's ever had to piss in the car. So congratulations, Danny. You've been in the Cup Series for 17 years, and you just took your first piss. Let's make him a
Shout out Denny.
NSP, make him a banner. A pissing
Yeah,
banner.
right. Pissing banner. He made it sound pretty weird because I don't think he liked it. He was like, "Man, I did that for the first time and it felt good. I loved it. It felt really good."
Then he said it was warm.
Of course,
And
he
then
would
it
say
got
that.
cold.
What kind
Harris
of people
was not happy.
What kind of
About his
people
I think
favorite
it
are
driver.
feels
getting
good
it
not
wrong.
that he pissed on himself. The dude was having serious issues with his bladder. He might need to go get something checked. He was in pain,
Yeah.
is the way he put it.
Well, he had a rough day. He's probably getting jostled around a little bit. Maybe
After
getting
that
those
last break, he should
beverages
just
down the
parked it and
system a
pissed
little
right
more.
there on the racetrack.
Yeah, right. That would have been insane.
But nobody beat
But yeah,
Tony Stewart shitting in the car. So
yeah.
until he does
We
that, he
had-
ain't nothing.
We had that lap 2 incident, which took out a lot of good cars pretty early. Christopher Bell, Bowman was out
Reddick.
with that. Reddick, a lot of guys survived that.
Or come back
and-
from it.
Yeah, as a Chase Elliott fan, I cannot believe I'm going to give this guy props. This is my MVP of the day. All right, Alan Gustafson was my MVP of that Atlanta race. Yeah.
Really?
That car was not in great shape
The
because Daniel
spoiler.
Hemrick can't hold the brakes. Shocker. He's a bum. Doesn't belong in the Cup Series. But to repair the car, Chase never went a lap down. And to get the car, he was down in the pits probably about 7-8 different times getting it repaired from that contact. So I thought it was pretty impressive on Alan's part to orchestrate it so that the team would get the repairs they needed and to get him out before he gets lapped and keep doing it until, he was in a position running top 10 pretty consistently in that second half of the race until Ross, who was a lap down, that didn't know where he was, probably pretty confused. They probably used some nasty pesticides in his watermelon farm. So, he's probably all messed up in the head. He didn't know where he was going. He slammed Chase, spun him around. That was great. And that damaged the splitter again. So they had to come down, pit. Chase stays on the lead lap. And Allen made a great call to pit the caution before that. Unfortunately, it didn't matter because Ross Chastain spun him out. and then getting involved in that wreck again, spinning, trying to avoid. I don't even remember who it was at that point. The third time he spun out, or second time he spun out, third time he was involved in one of the incidents. And then to come away with 15th, I thought Chase did a good job, but definitely my MVP is Alan Gustafson for the job he did. Any of y'all have any other takeaways from the race? Feel bad. Interesting stat: Joey Logano and Todd Gilliland, the drivers that have led the most laps in the first two races. They're both in the 70s on laps led, 30 laps more than any driver closer to them. They are 32nd and 33rd in points.
Two
Those two have
DNFs.
both been really fast, and they don't have anything to show for it, unfortunately. One thing I have on the ticker here that I'm interested to talk about is, I know we've only seen drafting tracks so far, but with the announcement that Front Row is now a Tier 1 Ford partner, are they for real? Like, are they a team?
I think we need to wait.
Qualifying. I agree.
Because Ford's been good at plate racing, and they still are. Daytona and Atlanta showed that. At one point, they were the top 7 cars in Atlanta, deep into a run. So I say we still give it a couple weeks, because everybody thought he was going to be go deep into the playoffs last year, and the dude literally fucking shit the bed.
Yeah,
because they just could not get speed. So
no,
I think they put everything into the last few weeks trying to make it, when a lot of the teams already in were focused on the first round and whatnot.
Yeah. I think I think we definitely need to wait a little bit, because these next few tracks will show what speed some of these cars and some of these teams have. And we know that Front Row and Ford specifically have been really good at plate racing and have always had speed. But then when the real tracks come, like when you don't have drafting tracks come into play, you see your Penske and recently RFK go in as the top 4 teams.
Yeah. But I think it was impressive to see Gilliland have the speed he did.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
to be honest, if there's speed there in that team for the rest of the year, I think Gilliland slowly outperforms.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
I don't. But
I do.
I would like that. I don't like McDowell, so
I'm indifferent.
I think it happens.
Yeah.
I'm indifferent too, but I think it does happen.
That would be interesting. I think Gilliland has more potential, I guess, or more room for growth. McDowell's already can't get much better.
Couldn't be no worse than David Gilliland. Good God, look at what kind of career he made of himself.
Yeah.
But to be honest, Robert Yates was on that team, was on its way out when he was on it. So, I mean, they literally brought Ricky Rudd back from retirement and didn't do a fucking thing with him either. So he actually ended up missing the most of the races for injury. I think it was just
like 5 or
mercy.
6. He got hurt.
Yeah. Get me out of the car.
It was not great. Let's talk about the Xfinity race. All that fuel mileage, all this, Jesse Love.
And they didn't save.
Yeah. All of this for Austin Hill to win again, somehow.
The only car not to pit. And we're running.
Yeah. In our watch party, we were having a PlayStation party. We were all rooting for SVG there towards the end.
Y'all were. I was rooting for Raleigh.
I was gonna say.
Well, the majority of the group was rooting for SVG, or the loud majority, which usually includes me, was rooting for SVG.
And Sal. I think there was only 3 of us in that party. I think Ryan joined late.
We had a couple for the end.
I joined
there,
late.
Matt was there.
We had a Colby in there.
Colby was there. Colby was watching.
Colby tuned into the channel.
He said, "Wow, look at the moon." Not a NASCAR fan. Shout out Colby. He's getting a little plug on the podcast. But yeah, all that for Austin Hill to win. Thoughts on the Xfinity race? I thought it sucked. It had people really pushing.
They need to work on
Atlanta
for Atlanta. I think their stuff is good at Daytona. And I would say you can blame the drivers if they were saving gas. Obviously, that was not the case. They were not saving because they showed it. They were 100% throttle. Even the leader was 100% throttle. Second place was 100% throttle. The only one that apparently wasn't was Austin Hill. So you can't blame the drivers for making it a snooze fest because they were saving gas. I don't want to hear that bullshit from Twitter again. I just don't think these cars do good at that track with drafting. They're good at Daytona and they're really good at Talladega compared to the Cup cars. But like I said earlier, the Cup cars have got them beat on this track. They kind of flipped it. And I do remember last year we had the same thing last year with the Xfinity cars here. They just do not. They're I guess too stable. I feel like I know there was some wrecks, but that was not because of handling. I think that was just because people wasn't using their heads. I just don't think these cars are on the edge at Atlanta like they are at Daytona and Talladega.
Yeah.
So it's a boring race.
It wasn't the greatest race in the world, and there wasn't many moves going on. Yeah, it was obvious that a lot of these drivers weren't really saving fuel. Obviously, apparently Austin Hill was.
They didn't show his throttle much.
No, they didn't actually because he was so far back.
Yeah. So, and yet he was calling out drivers for not doing anything.
Oh, he called them sissies.
Yeah, he called them sissies.
But said, "Oh man, I would have sat behind." He called everybody sissies, but yeah, I wish Jesse Love won that race. He said after. Yeah, it's like, no, you fucking didn't.
No, you didn't.
Idiot.
He's such a douchebag.
He was gonna make a move on him as soon as
he felt so bad for Jesse Love because he led all those laps. I'm like, it's not hard to lead laps when nobody can't fucking draft up to the bumper and make a fucking move. So that's just Austin Hill.
If Austin
he's playing
Hill,
his teammate card shit already. I can't wait till we get midway when they're into each other's throats.
2 races into the season.
Yeah, well, let's just mention the fact that Sheldon Creed and him went fucking at it. And, and Austin and Sheldon Creed and RCR, literally, Richard Childress himself basically called Sheldon Creed an idiot. He wanted him gone.
They got him on video doing it.
Yeah, everyone's behind. They're behind Austin Hill, but they trash Sheldon Creed. That tells that I'm happy Sheldon Creed left because they treated him like shit.
Yeah.
Well, I'm no Sheldon Creed fan. Yeah,
that is for sure.
I feel like when it comes to the Xfinity race in Atlanta, if they started running out of fuel the last 2 laps, it would add it to the drama to kind of create some amnesia on how terrible the race was.
Oh, I mean, it caused some drama just because it caused the caution because all them Fords stopped on the racetrack.
Yeah, I wish they had it. Right. I was so ready to just start seeing these cars drop like flies.
That would have been so good. Yeah, I thought SVG was going to be in a good spot there. Who finished second ahead of him? It was another
Chandler Smith, I believe.
Smith.
Yeah, that would have been a fun little battle, SVG versus Chandler Smith. But we got to give a shout out to SVG. I mean, he had some pretty good results for his first 2 drafting tracks. A lot of guys that are jumping into the deep end here for the first time wouldn't do as well as he did. So we'll give a shout out to SVG. Got to be good for his confidence. He also took out Jeb Burton last week, which nobody is going to complain about.
I think he took him out 2 or 3 times, didn't he?
Yeah,
twice in a row. Point. 2 cautions in a row.
Yeah,
he hit bumpers.
There he is.
Yeah. Anything else from the Xfinity race? Feel bad for Jesse Love. Seemed like he kind of had that until he didn't.
Yep.
I think his car was the only one that was able to work the bottom. Really.
Yeah.
On that restart, I think he probably had the best car.
Trimmed out.
Yeah, he did. I think he did a really good job because in your second race in that car, it's not easy to perform like that. Even I know it's Atlanta, and I know we like to say, "Oh, drafting tracks they don't take that much skill." In relativity to other NASCAR tracks, they don't. But for his second race in the car, I think that's a great performance from him. I think he is, one of the next superstars.
I think he's up in Cup soon. I think RCR.
No, I don't see the path for him there because I think Austin Hill is the guy to replace Austin Dillon next year.
Yeah.
If I'm Ford, I'm getting sick and tired of losing talent to other competitors. But to be quite honest, I don't give a shit about Ford after this year anyway because I still think Stuart Haas is going to Honda, and I think that would be like
Honda.
I think that's going to be playing with house money. If Honda says the Toyota path and only stick with one team to start off with, or period. If I'm Honda, I'm picking one team and that's all I'm doing. I'm putting money behind 4 Cup cars and I'm giving you money to go out there and get good talent.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Like, where do we think a guy like him goes? I mean, you know,
If you look at Chevy, I
Trackhouse,
don't think he goes Trackhouse. I don't think it's there. I don't think
look at
it's
that.
obviously not there at Hendrick either.
41. It was flipped. I forgot that it.
I was gonna say Chase is pretty safe at
Oh,
Stuart Haas. Briscoe's safe at Stuart
Yeah.
Haas.
I don't think anybody is safe at Stuart Haas except for
No.
Josh Berry. That's just my opinion.
Yeah,
Because
they're
Tony
gonna
Stewart
give
done
Josh
said
Berry-
if they don't improve this year, there will be changes next year. But like I said earlier, Tony Stewart could also be playing coy already because he already knows what they're doing next year. The change could be a manufacturer change. It don't technically mean a driver change. It could also mean they switch out some crew chiefs except for Rodney, because literally Rodney went after Josh Berry. Rodney chose his driver, just like Harvick chose his crew chief. So it could be nothing but Tony Stewart already dropping hints that, yeah, we're switching to Honda next year. And it, that announcement when he switched to Ford literally came in February when he made that.
Yeah.
And it was a year in advance. Nobody saw it coming. I think we see Honda coming in and people are saying, oh, it's 2 years off if they do. I'm telling you, it's been a rumor for way too long that Honda's been wanting to come in the NASCAR. I think they've been working on shit. I just don't think they're going to decide 2 years later, oh, yeah, we'll go ahead and do it, and we'll take another 2 years to figure it out. I think they've already been working on the car.
And we know how Stewart is when it comes to his team. He'll just come out of the blue and you're caught off guard. Like, no one really expected him to go. Like, he announced this the year he was retiring, saying, oh yeah, we're going to Ford. And he had been loyal to Chevy.
It was very sudden.
He was loyal to Chevy his whole career, basically. And all of a sudden he's going to Ford, and it paid off for him. And now Ford's kind of showing their hands with the other teams. So Stewart's probably had enough, and he's probably saying,
I think that's the byproduct of, though, they know they're losing Stuart Haas next year is the reason why front row moved up. Tier 1.
Yeah.
To me, it's no coincidence that the Honda news came out that they're looking to get in, and the
right around the same time that Ford
came out. Things kind of always seem to work like that, Stuart Haas or Honda.
Legacy just switched to Toyota, so it's not them.
Yeah.
I don't look for Roush to switch because they have long time been Ford.
They'll be Ford till the day they die.
Roush.
Penske, maybe. Long shot, but maybe. I still think Penske is Ford's top team.
But they have the alliance with Front Row, so I feel like they're kind of deep into the Ford
long
connection.
term.
And they don't run Honda and IndyCar.
Yeah.
They run Chevy and IndyCar. I know that's not. It doesn't correlate because Chip ran Chevy and NASCAR and Honda and IndyCar.
Yeah.
But to me, I don't see that. And SHR is the team, is a super team, 4 cars that has been struggling.
Yeah.
And they've been rumored to go to Dodge for the last couple of years. It doesn't look like Dodge is coming back.
No.
Chevy, that's been a conversation. But again,
Chevy's already got their top tiers. I don't think you can squeeze in on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you get in because there's a clear top 3 over at Chevy right now, which is Hendrick, RCR, and Trackhouse.
Correct.
Those are the 3 teams that share the most information with each other. That's kind of the pipeline that things are going through with Chevy right now. At least that's kind of what's been made known.
And Ford has their 3. Penske, RFK, and Front Row.
Yeah.
And Toyota has their 3 now. Legacy, 2311, and
I'm
Joe
telling
Gibbs.
you, if you're Honda, this is a good time to get in. I'm hoping that they've been working on this. This is the time to get in. You concentrate on one team. You don't have no tier team because you only have one team. Toyota was smart when they done that when they got in this sport years ago. We have 36 charters, and you're going to take 4 of them, and everybody else is stuck with where they're at. You can literally play with house fucking money if you're going with Honda. Yeah, that's just my opinion. That's only if Stuart Haas don't do that, I don't see Stuart Haas lasting in this sport much longer.
Nope.
That's just my opinion.
But I don't see why they wouldn't make that jump. I have a feeling they'll go to Honda.
I would not be surprised if or when Honda does come into NASCAR, it's going to be Stuart Haas that makes the jump because there's just too many coincidences in Ford that say, yeah, Stuart Haas is probably going.
When was it last year that they asked Tony Stewart about his Ford contract and he literally basically said nothing?
Yeah.
That's Stewart. Stewart
No,
plays in the
but
gray.
but that's not an answer that Stewart gives.
That's not an answer that you give when you're
that's
good
not
with your
Tony Stewart.
manufacturer either.
Because there's a difference from Tony Stewart answers as a driver. I know he was controversial as a driver.
A smart
but
ass
he is a team owner.
comment.
He's a representative. And so he was very, very like non-committal. He said, we're going to run out our deal with Ford, which I believe ends this year, I think.
Pretty sure it does. And the writing's on the wall. Like I said, when they announced Front Row as a top tier or a tier 1, I'm wondering if Stuart Haas is even still tier 1. Or they've already been cut off because you don't want to give them the information if you know they're leaving.
Right.
This may be a bad year for Stuart Haas still.
I don't recall saying Fonda. I said Honda.
Liz was holding no punches back.
Jane
Fonda.
I don't think I said Fonda. I said Honda.
Peter Fonda.
You heard
Did
it.
you say Fonda when you meant to say Ford? Maybe.
I don't think
Honda.
I don't recall saying Fonda though.
That's what they're going to run next year. They're not going to run Fords. They're not going to run Hondas. They're going to run
a mix.
Hondas.
Well, here's the thing though. The only reason why I feel like Dodge is being rumored, even though I don't think
I think Dodge is out.
I think Dodge is out.
I think
The only
that's
reason
right.
why the only reason why Dodge would ever be rumored is because Stewart's drag racing team runs Dodge.
That connection.
Yeah.
And I think that's
But to
what Dodge
me,
wants to say.
I think the rumor of Honda being close to entry with like that conversation and Phelps and his
years.
Like Phelps had an interview with I think Chris Myers either at the Clash or at the Daytona 500, and the questions they cut it in a way where I think Steve Phelps said, "All right, you're going to ask me these questions, and I'm going to tell this information to the public," because that was about questions that maybe he wouldn't normally answer, which is international races, which he said, I think we're going to have Canada, Mexico next year. And he said, I can't tell you about but I think we're having conversations. And Chris Meyer said, Honda. And he was like, I don't know, Jim. So like, I really think that's a legit thing going on.
I'm liking this because I think NASCAR wants Honda. They want another manufacturer. They're going to actually be on Tony Stewart over there in his ear saying, do it. This gets them in here. Do it. We'll help you out. I think Stewart Haas, they've been shit on the last couple of seasons. They got caught cheating a couple last year. They already got caught cheating this weekend. Had some shit confiscated. I think they get away with more shit next year if they bring in Honda with some open arms.
But what other teams did you say, Tegan, that would take the Honda charter as well, besides Stewart Haas?
No,
I think nobody else is in the position.
There's nobody else that seems reasonable.
They're literally happy with where they're at. Trackhouse is not leaving Chevy. Neither is RCR. That's a long time. Hendrick, the road will end if he ever leaves Chevy. It better because Chevy's bankrupt. I don't see Penske ever leaving Ford because they are their top team, in my opinion. The last 2 years, that's championship. Ford's going to throw money at their ass to keep them if they're even thinking about it. Front Row just got made tier 1. They're not leaving anytime soon, and they're aligned with Penske, like Mike said. And then what's that?
RFK.
RFK has been a long time Roush, or a long time Ford as well since Roush has been in the sport.
There's Roush
Mustang going anywhere either.
There's no reason for Roush.
They only leave Stewart Haas, and I don't see Honda going to BJ McLeod and say, "Hey, can we run a Honda?"
No, God, no. Why would they?
No, they're not. If they do, then they're fucking stupid. They're going to be the bonehead every week next year. No question. They are automatic boneheads every fucking week. I will be on this pod by myself on Christmas Day calling them fucking boneheads and signing off with a fucking Merry Christmas. If that happens. If they go to BJ McLeod, who's another shitty team?
Colleague, yeah. There you go. Who knows when they're
I think Colleague can't even find sponsors. I think Colleague's fucked. I would not go to Colleague either because they seem like they were literally up here and they have literally been going, and it's not changing. I mean, they literally put Josh Williams in the car for 2 races this weekend, and they literally gave him a test car, in my opinion, for the Xfinity race. The motherfucker had 2 flat tires in 10 laps. That's how much they thought of his talent. They're like, he ain't gonna do shit. Just put that car out there. Let's try some shit. If it don't work, boo-hoo, we'll move on. Yeah. And then they get in the Cup car and he gets wrecked, and they're like, oh, well, he's probably going to fucking wreck anyway. Let's just get it over with and go home. So, colleague, we lucky in 2 or 3 years if they're still, if that team is still named Colleague. If it's not bought out by somebody named Dale Jr. which means WGA buys it. It's fucking Chevy. It becomes a tier 1 team. If Chevy's got to knock somebody out of it or do 4 of them. So Colleague is out of the equation. I don't think Colleague has the star power, and I don't think they have
the money,
the sponsors, the money, which Stuart Haas don't either. But Stuart Haas has their own house money they can play with. Like Gene Haas literally put his name on the car.
Yeah.
For how many years now to sponsor drivers that he wanted in that 41 car? So
for years.
And he's the owner. He's the owner of an F1 team. All right.
Yeah, he's got money to throw.
If in this F1 climate, I know Haas F1 has not been very successful, but he's getting a pretty good income, I'd say, from that. And his whole, like, where I go to college, the advanced manufacturing building is called the Gene Haas Center for Advanced Manufacturing.
The motherfucker makes his money off his
this
machine.
Guy is.
So.
I mean,
loaded. All right, he's
loaded.
It's not money. I don't think is ever going to be a concern.
And I still wouldn't be surprised if in next year or sometime down the road, if Harvick don't buy into a Cup team. And I still think it's there with Stewart. I think he's friends with him. I don't know. If I'm Harvick, I'm buying in. If I know Honda's coming in, I'm putting my money on Honda.
The only reason why Harvick would
money for the first couple of seasons.
The only reason Harvick does Trackhouse is because of his son Keeneland. It's the only reason why.
Keeneland. But no, I think that it makes sense to me for Trackhouse just because you already have that connection with Justin.
I mean, they already got 2 or 3 owners. I don't think there's room there for Harvick
to
be in there and have an input.
I don't think there's a negative side to Harvick going in and being like a voice in your building. I think that's
I think he still does positive. That. You don't have to be an owner. I think he does that anyway. Because not only does Keelan
him a little more
Trackhouse in go-karts, but they got Brent Cruz. I think that does races for him. There's a few others that are coming up through the pipeline through KHI now. They basically revived that. And I don't know. Who knows? I would love to see KHI in Cup. I would love to see KHI back in trucks and Xfinity. Because I think they'd go out there and dominate again. But I would like to see Harvick own a Cup team. I just don't think he does it alone. He's got to have somebody. I don't think he's putting that money up himself.
Do you think we see that ownership group like
the same one that owns
the Cars Tour minus Justin Marks, or with maybe a financial backer? Because it seems like he's got some deep financial connections. Marks. I don't know where his money comes from, but it seems like he's got a lot of powerful.
I think if you take him out of it and you leave Jeff Burton, Harvick, and Dale Jr. in it, I don't think you own more than one team. Financially, even with them 3, I don't think you can do more than one team. You buy one charter and you go out there and you put the best effort into one car. I think this 4-car shit, they're saying that you got to have 4 cars, which they've been saying this for years now, to be competitive. Because if the more cards you got, the more information you learn.
I don't agree.
Look at front row. 2 cars. 2 cars, and look what they're doing. Well, now 2311 has had deep pockets since they've been in existence with Toyota and Michael Jordan. Front row has not had deep pockets. I mean, hell, before last year, they didn't know Michael McDowell was going to be back in that car till literally a couple weeks before Daytona. They didn't make that call till then. And same thing with Gilliland. So I think you can get 1 car, 2 at tops, and still be a top tier team like front row now and 2311. Yeah. And Trackhouse.
Trackhouse is only 2 cars,
Sal, I think that's going to change. But, Sal, this is an interesting topic. We're going to go into Daniel Suarez, one of the things that we've had going along the ticker here today. Does this mean Daniel Suarez is safe at Trackhouse? Because that's a conversation that we've had quite a bit on this show with the emergence of Zane Smith being now a Trackhouse driver, and also SVG, who had a pretty solid start to his Xfinity career. He'll be looking to go to Cup, and Trackhouse will want him.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Daniel Suarez? Is he safe for another year at Trackhouse?
Yes, and I know the interview was in media, and you got to pick your words closely whenever you're getting interviewed like that. But with the way Justin Marks was talking about it yesterday, I don't see him leaving at all.
Okay.
And if he does, I mean, I think I saw something where he's either one win off or tied for most wins from an international driver. I mean, that's huge.
We've only had 3 though.
Two.
I thought we had somebody else before Pablo.
Mario Andretti.
I can't remember the name. It was
somebody in 1974 at Martinsville.
Yeah.
Like it's huge what he's doing, and I mean the stuff that he has done, because I'm pretty sure he had a big say in helping the NASCAR Mexico Series run at the Coliseum this year. And I think he stays there until the rest of his career, and whenever he does quit, or whenever he does
I don't know about that, Jim.
No, I don't know, Jim.
He's going to be a Trackhouse driver the rest of his career, and he's going to stay working for Trackhouse when he does decide.
I think you're.
I don't know. I don't know.
I still think if the rest of this year goes to shit, I still think there's a possibility that he's out of that car. Look at AJ. They didn't want to get rid of AJ, but they had to.
Yeah.
The solution to this is Trackhouse buys college charters. They've got deep pockets, I think. I think Trackhouse being a 4-car team is kind of inevitable. You're saying that
Zane Smith and SVG are wanting to go to Cup next year. They can't buy 2 charters. I don't think they're there.
I will say too, and I know they're drafting tracks, and Spire has been somewhat decent at them with Corey. Zane Smith hasn't been doing too bad.
Yeah.
Okay,
and I wouldn't be surprised if Trackhouse is helping set that car up.
Well, I'm sure they're sharing information, but I would give that a couple weeks. Like last year, we were talking about how Corey LaJoie was up there in the points, and then he just fell.
Fell. Yeah.
So I won't put too much into.
I agree. If Smith can keep up with what he's doing right now, I wouldn't be surprised if we hear that he stays another year at Spire with the 71, right?
Yeah, 71.
With the 71, and they buy one of colleagues' charters to get the 3rd car for SVG if he does move up.
They only got 2 charters, right?
Yeah.
Who called?
Yeah, they not just signed Corey to a long-term deal?
Spire did.
Yeah.
I could see them maybe selling that 71. Maybe that 71 charter has a deal where it could move to Trackhouse at some point. Because I think the only reason they bought that charter was because Trackhouse said, "Hey guys, you should get this charter because we don't want to fill the 3rd car next
driver in here
to see what he's got."
Yeah. I mean,
and maybe they agree to buy the charter, at a certain point next year or something like that. To me, it's kind of an interesting situation.
It is.
But we will see what happens with that.
Honestly, Trackhouse is set up for the long, because I mean that teenage kid they got, he's really
he's very good. Yeah.
Trackhouse is set
up.
He
was a Rolex 24 and won.
Yeah.
So
the video the PR team put out of Marks getting him an excuse to not go to school was hilarious.
And we've experienced some of NASCAR's most viral moments in the last couple of years, and seemingly they are all around Trackhouse. Yeah. We have Ross Chastain's Hail Melon in 2022. We have SVG's unlikely win at the Chicago Street Course last year, and then we had that 3-wide finish with Daniel Suarez coming out on top. So Trackhouse, and I think they're doing it differently. And I know Jeff Gordon has mentioned this a lot as something he wants for Hendrick, but he wants the teams to kind of have more of an identity and fans to come in and be attracted to the teams, kind of like they are in F1. I don't necessarily think Hendrick Motorsports is doing a great job of that, nor really any other team except for Trackhouse. Trackhouse, I think, is building a brand.
Ain't there a lot of teams starting this last weekend, starting to do little hospitality things behind their trailers?
RCR tried that, yeah.
I think Stuart Haas has had it set up.
Yeah.
That's all fine and dandy. As long as we don't get to F1 levels of Pruck and Price.
Right.
Oh yeah.
That's a great point.
If we do that, then we are ruining our own sport.
Yeah.
But
And
see,
if you
Hendrick.
hear-
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Kevin.
No, I was just saying, and Hendrick already got their most popular driver on the team too, in Chase Elliott. So if they can't get fans to be attracted to the team altogether, well, okay, well we'll just go right back to Chase Elliott and put him on top of the podium, where he's always been.
I'd love that.
Another thing with Trackhouse as a whole, I mean, when you hear Justin Marks talk about him, like when I forgot what they had asked him, he was saying he wasn't saying like this team. He was making sure he was referring to Trackhouse as a company. So they know what they're doing. They were doing, like, I think mid-season last year, they started doing like little video things on the doors of the haulers of the drivers, which are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think they're really changing the game with that. Speaking of charters, another thing we have on the ticker, NASCAR is looking to extend the charter agreement for 7 more years in conjunction with that TV deal. The teams, I think, were looking for a
Are on
permanent
board.
extension. They're looking for a permanent extension at first, but I think this deal, I think they're going to end up agreeing to.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about it? If y'all have any opinions about it, because I think they'll probably end up
I
agreeing
think
to
both of
7
them
years.
need to agree to it and get it done because
Yeah.
I can see both sides. I can see the teams wanting a set in stone, you know what's going on. But NASCAR also is running this sport. They're paying out the money, which teams are asking more of, by the way. They have
Which they
got to
should.
think, but they've also NASCAR's got to think, we don't know how this economy is going to be in after 7 years.
Yeah.
Or even in 2 years or 3 years or whatever. What if this just goes the shits to bed and we're sitting here with permanent charters and y'all ain't worth the shit anyway? The value's not there. And, I could see NASCAR not making this permanent. You don't want to be stuck with something. And then they're also, if you make it permanent and then you were like 5 years from now, you're like, oh yeah, this ain't permanent anymore. You're opening yourself up to lawsuits. So I can see, I think this is a good deal for both sides. If the drivers, or it ain't the drivers, it's the team owners, whatever, don't agree to it, then I think they're too greedy.
Yeah.
I think you've got to meet in the middle. You cannot ask for so much. And people say, oh, they'll go start their own sanctioning body and run their own races. No, that shit costs money. That NASCAR has that on lockdown in this country. When it comes to stock cars, you are not going to go out there and do that. And I'm pretty sure NASCAR probably has these cars on lockdown on the design and shit, if they're designed. So I think this is a deal that both should agree to. That's just my opinion.
I agree.
But what if they go crazy and not agree on the deal? And I'm not saying they're not going to disagree on the deal. What I'm sure, like you said,
I think NASCAR drags this out. I don't think NASCAR budges. I think they can drag it out. And this shit expires at the end of the year, right?
It does, yeah.
If the teams don't agree to it, they're going to fuck themselves because then that shit expires and these teams ain't worth diddly squat.
They're not.
Well, but what is NASCAR worth?
NASCAR's got money to play with. They're still putting on races. I don't think teams are going to be I ain't racing.
Team owners could say, all right, you don't want to give us this deal? Screw you. We're all going to make an agreement and start a new series. Because NASCAR is not NASCAR without the teams, and the teams aren't, they aren't the teams without NASCAR either. But I think that NASCAR, where would it go?
It works. I don't think you can take these teams that are in NASCAR right now, and I don't think they can start their own sport. That is a long process to even get going. By the time you even get it going, if you do, people's lost interest.
Right.
NASCAR went away. They're not watching racing for 2 years because this group has decided they're going to start their own series because they didn't get what they want. That interest is gone for NASCAR and for them. And I also don't see Michael Jordan agreeing to be like, yeah, I'll help y'all start a series. He's good enough or fine enough with starting the team, putting money into it. It's producing results with Bubba and Reddick and Denny Hamlin running the show. I don't think Michael Jordan agrees to starting a whole new fucking franchise or a new sport, a new sanctioning body. Then you got to run at tracks. NASCAR owns half of them. SMI owns the other half. I don't think SMI is going to go against NASCAR and let y'all run there. Unless NASCAR just says we're going bankrupt, fuck it, we're out of it. You don't have tracks to run at. It does not happen. They have to agree to this, or this shit goes out the door at the end of the year.
I agree with that, and you can't run it out because not only are you gonna hurt this, it's not gonna help the teams, and it's not gonna help NASCAR. But as soon as they continue to drag it out and bitch about it, like you said, Tegan, people are gonna lose interest, and they're gonna lose interest fast.
Well, I mean, dragging it out and bitching about it is one thing. But if you drag it out and these teams start saying, "Oh, we're boycotting," that becomes the issue. You can drag this out and bitch about it all you want because that's how business works. That's good business, is what people would say. But if you don't have an agreement by the end of the year, and NASCAR is offering you a decent deal, which is 7 years, which I think is decent, you're fucking yourself as a team owner. For the reports already be out that they're like people are already predicting that the teams are going to agree to it. I think it's going to happen. That would not have been put out there with that article.
I don't think there's really much to worry about the charter agreement not being extended or anything. It's probably going to happen because the team owners have to know that they really can't get the permanent because that's not really going to help NASCAR. And NASCAR is trying to make sure the economy, they're trying to watch the economy because if you're permanent, like you said, Tegan, it's over. There's nothing much worth after that. So trying to keep the charter agreements at least to a T to where it's not permanent, but you can extend it each year as the economy goes. That makes it easier.
Each TV deal.
There's way too much money. I
don't think NASCAR is balking at giving the teams more money. I think between two sides. It's the charter deal. I think that is the thing that is holding up this whole deal. I don't think NASCAR cares about giving more money. I think if it's there and as long as everybody gets their fair share, NASCAR's got to have money to run the sport. They got people to pay just like we do. They done layoffs during the recession that we had.
No.
What was it? 14 years ago, 15 years ago, 16 years ago. So they've done cuts and they probably have cut enough fat to where you can't cut no more. They've told the teams, hey, y'all going to have to cut fat too if y'all get into where y'all can't make it. And they did. And so now the teams are wanting a little bit more money out of this TV deal. That's why NASCAR went out there and got a streaming giant and Amazon to help cover that. They are helping NBC and Fox so that they don't have to pay more out of their pocket than what they already are. And they get more, less races to play with. That gives them more time to put other sports in that slot. Amazon is a fucking tech giant. They've got money to spend. They've got the resources to put into this sport. So NASCAR, I think, is giving the teams more money. They went out there and found the way to make it happen. Now we just got to agree on this charter, and I think it happens. I think it happens before we get midway through the year.
Yeah, I think it happens within the next month.
Yeah,
I think it's the tentative agreement. It happens before May.
Yeah. We are running a little long, so I got to get through 2 more topics before we go into picks and then get out of here.
Skip the truck race.
Grant Enfinger, sad. This is that was really sad. Sal and I were depressed. This is what I was going to talk about actually next because Amazon Prime reminded me. Amazon Prime rumored to be the top suitor for Dale Jr.'s services in 2025.
I think I got a couple opinions on this, and I've already told you about it. What I think about it.
My opinion is, I understand why Amazon Prime's doing it because he's probably the hottest commodity in broadcasting in the sport. I think it's bad for us. Only getting to hear him for 5 races. Yeah. I wish there was a way that maybe we could agree to both to 2 different places, kind of like Larry Mack did or like Yoakum did, but
yeah. Or maybe he does so many races with NBC because he's doing more with Amazon. Yeah. I don't think it's a money thing. People are saying, oh, Amazon got I literally just said Amazon's got money. I don't think Dale Jr. does it for the money. Although the son of a bitch did go to eBay to bid on a used Titanic set because apparently he can afford $800. I don't understand. Yeah. So big hub, look at that motherfucker.
He is
big hub. Come back from Atlanta. He's probably still hungover. So I don't think Dale Jr. is doing it for the money. I think Dale Jr. if he goes to Amazon fully, I think it's because it's less time on the road at the track. He's got 2 daughters, right?
Yeah, 2 daughters. Yep.
2 daughters, and I don't know the kind of private. I don't know if the oldest one's into racing or not. Either way, I'm sure they do shit after school that he wants to be more a part of. Like, it's the reason why Harvick wanted to retire when he did this year. So I don't think Dale Jr. is doing it for the money. I think he's doing it for more time at home if he does Amazon.
And
I don't want him to do
like
Amazon. I want him to stay with NBC. NBC's like been top dog the last 2 or 3 years. I think he's ruining a good thing if he leaves. I think Amazon needs to have their own thing. Alan Bestwick, who's been covering the sport on Twitter more here lately, I think it's happening. I think he's coming back.
Daytona.
I think he needs to pair up with anybody but fucking Jamie Little. I love her. No, leave her in trucks. We'll deal with her.
Don't leave her in trucks.
I don't know who we get with Alan. I would love Larry McReynolds, in my opinion, got shit on at Daytona when he couldn't be the crew chief because the race got moved. I think that was a Fox thing that made him go back to Charlotte to the studio. He could have done both at the track. I want to see Larry McReynolds say, all right, I'm done with Fox. I want back in the booth for 6 races a year. That way he still has time to go home and be with his family and pair up with Alan Bestwick.
Oh my God.
Merry Christmas.
Hold on quickly before we get into our last topic. Hit the music. We're putting you right in, Maddie.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this the right music? No, it's
No,
not.
this is the go home music.
Oh, no, it's
I don't think
not.
that was
Okay,
it
here we
either.
go. Here we are.
All right, here we go.
Got the shit on.
All right. Who won the race? Time out. Give me a second here. All right, yes. For my first dude is going to be Daniel Suarez. I'm just walking through the door.
No
I
name.
haven't been home for 5 minutes. All right, Daniel Suarez. He's my first dude. Shout out to him. One of the non-playoff drivers that I had, so I think it's going to make it a little bit interesting here. Down the line we go. And then my second dude, I'm going to get a shout out to Bubba Wallace, the only driver. Granted, it's been two what I would consider super speedways, but one definitely super speedway.
Oh no.
And we're gonna lose him. No.
Oh no.
No.
Snap on it, buddy.
Rip Matt. We lost him.
Free
The
spray.
only driver to
no.
get top.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, no, it's not.
Nope. I'm all right. Yes, I'll be the host of the show for the rest of the time here. I don't know what anybody else talked about, but how I thought the race too. It was a pretty interesting race. I really thought the last half of the last stage got really exciting. I still feel like they should do something with the package, just because it's really hard to pass when you get someone side by side on the inside, and it's almost like just sailing it up the racetrack. But it made for exciting television. So at the end of the day, I feel like NASCAR is going to want the most exciting thing for television, and I think that might mean more super speedways, as much as people don't want to see it.
God, no.
I don't think people. Yeah. I don't think it's the popular answer, but I feel like in NASCAR's eyes, that's what they think is the most entertaining for the fans.
Because
So,
Matt's Mike.
I don't know. If, I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm saying that
I don't think it happens just because I think NASCAR knows 6 is enough. You
yeah,
don't
but
want
I
to
fe-
oversaturate it.
But I feel like if they're gonna make, like, say, if they're gonna do something to where you go to some track more times, I feel like NASCAR is gonna want the viewership of TV. Like, they'll just look at it from a viewership thing, and I feel like more people view.
If you have a fan base
know.
that only watches because it's a plate race, to me, that's not a true fan base. That's
Yeah, and I don't know what the popularity is. Like, I don't know what races statistically. I don't
It would
check
get
that,
old.
so I don't know what races statistically television wise.
You'd lose a good part of your core fan
core
base.
Core
fan. Yeah, I was
base.
going to say that. Like your
And I
diehard
think
fans.
there would literally be a loss.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I
Like
agree
if
with
they
that.
were to if SMI was to take Texas right now and reconfigure it into a drafting track, I think NASCAR would be like, all right, we ain't going back to Texas. You lost your race. You can pick another track, SMI, where we pick one or we pick one of ours. That's what I think happens.
But
One more.
it was definitely big for Suarez, because, like I said, he was one of those guys who you would probably have right on the cusp if you had him making the playoffs. So now
I think it's going to be really tough for someone to point their way in. And I know last year you had like 12 or 13 drivers, but who you didn't have last year is Bowman and Chase because they were injured. Now, granted, you don't know if anybody's going to get injured, but I feel like say everybody stays healthy, and usually most people do stay healthy through NASCAR. Like it's going to be tough if you tell me that Bowman and Chase and like Martin Truex and a guy like Ty Gibbs, if you're going to tell me that someone of those guys isn't going to win a race,
I got a
I'd
hot
probably
take.
honestly lean towards like Truex and Ty Gibbs out of those four.
Oh,
I got a hot take. We can't talk about Bowman because we'll all get our hands smacked. I think, because I had to stop doing the race, I think Martin Truex struggles to make the playoffs this year.
Yep.
I think so too.
I personally, like I said, I honestly feel like now you have to win a race.
I don't think Ty Gibbs does.
In my eyes, I don't think anybody points their way in.
I don't think we have 16 winners.
I think
We got
I think
close
there
the
are guys
first year,
that point
but
their
every
way
year
in.
these teams get better of keeping these cars faster. So the same teams are going to be winning races.
But I mean, like, let's just see. We have two so far. I definitely think the other three. I think it's pretty safe to say the other three drivers from Hendrick will get in. Will get a win. Your only questionable one to me is Bowman.
I'd say Chase too, honestly.
I do think 2 out of the 3 in Team Penske are going to get a win.
Chase has trouble too. I think he might squeeze it, but I think it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, I think you could say 2 out of the 3 Team Penske drivers will get a win. So right there, you're at.
What do you mean, Logano and Cindric?
Well, shut your mouth. So that would put you at 7 after the 3 from Hendrick and the 2 from Penske, and then I think you'll have 23-11 both win races. So that's 9.
Ross.
I think you'll see Ross. That's 10. I think you'll see 3 out of the 4 in Joe Gibbs. So that's 13. Who else? RFK. I think Buescher will win a race. That's 14. You can make the case Brad could win a race. That's 15. And
don't
so
forget about front row course.
Yeah, you could see. You could see
like you got like Kyle Busch, who's in the conversation.
And I didn't even mention Kyle Busch. So right there would be 16.
We forget about him because he went to RCR. So
yeah, that's the only reason why I did that. But that's pretty. Yeah.
I'm still waiting for the wheels to fall off that bus. So
I don't know. So we're gonna do the picks in a second. One more thing I want to talk about: Joey Logano webbed gloves, qualifying advantage.
I love it. I fucking love it. I'm for it.
I am too, honestly. It's fun.
I didn't know gloves would have been such a huge advantage.
I wouldn't have known either.
So my thing is, he should have got gloves that were fucking SFI regulated. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. It was web,
I would have went to whoever makes them say, make me a web glove that is safety regulated, and I'd been like, fuck you, NASCAR.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty bad look for Logano.
I don't think it is. I think
I think it just makes NASCAR look stupid.
Well, it makes.
I don't think that either.
It makes it a bad. I think it makes it a bad look because if you know it's not NASCAR regulated and you're trying it, yes, there's that.
But he wouldn't have got caught if it weren't for the in-car cameras.
Yes,
and he didn't get caught till Sunday morning. They made him take it off and compare them.
Yeah, but you would have to think. I would imagine that in this day and age, there's technology and everything.
I think somebody told. I think somebody at Penske.
They could. It was probably Cindric's dad.
It might have been Cindric. He is a little dweeb with the bow tie and the Roy Orbison glasses. So I think
we got to do it. Him to slow down that 12 and 22, so my son still has a job next year.
Yeah, right. All right, let's get into the picks. We are going to do these picks here. Maddie off to a commanding lead. Wins in the first 2 weeks. He's already got a 6-point advantage over tied for second, which is Kev Ryan and Tegan Jones. Great pick, Matt, picking Eric Jones, who got you 3 points at Daytona, and Daniel Suarez, who got you 5 points since he won the race. Picking first this week will be Bradley, who is taking Christopher Bell.
Okay.
Picking second will be me, and I will take Joey Logano.
Yeah, that's not.
That's also not a bad pick.
I feel like he's going to look for redemption after 2 wrecks and 2 weeks where he led a lot and Las Vegas is historically a very good track for him. Next up, I believe, is it you with Hocevar, Sal?
I
think
think
he got-
so. Finished 19th.
Yeah. So you're next, Sal. Who do you got?
Give me Alex Bowman.
No.
You dirty.
Okay.
I didn't mean that.
All right.
Dude, come on. It's our weekend.
Look at. Oh my goodness, because I didn't think anybody was gonna. God, okay, I'm gonna need a minute now before we get to this.
Well, you're last, so you take all the
Yeah,
time
you,
you
are,
want,
you,
big
you
boy.
want some time
No.
for sure. Not
Oh my goodness.
quite yet. Next up is JB, who, let me get his pick up here. Let me make sure it's right. He will take Kyle Larson.
Oh, so
He
he's
has
going for
really
a W.
swung for the fences the first 3 weeks here.
And he has struck out.
Missed every time. We'll see if he misses again this week. So next up would be Tegan with Kaz Grala. Who was your Las Vegas pick, Mr. Jones?
Oh, I did throw that one away. I thought I took Haley. Hot damn, I've been good. I'm gonna take Willie B.
Oh,
William Byron. Wow, this is a
St.
big
Martin
week.
strikes twice.
This is a big week, so no one's throwing away.
Yeah,
As soon as I say that, Wessel's pick's a throwaway pick.
it actually is. Eric
now you
Jones,
probably have
Wessel's gonna pick.
I agree. Good throwaway.
Because Wessel sent me, I said, who do you want to pick? He said Logano. I said, no, I'm picking him. And then he said Larson, and I said, he's going before you also. So he's like, well, seems like a lot of heavy hitters. I'm throwing away Eric Jones.
Okay.
Solid throwaway, I'd say. Kev Ryan. Let's hear if you guys can agree. Who do you got?
I think we need to do a throwaway too because they're taking all their
Okay.
heavy hitters.
I'll tell you what. Let's do this. Make it fun. Ryan, when I count it down, we're going to say at the same time what we think the driver's going to be. Are you ready?
Okay,
Whoa.
hold on.
Okay, how
hold
about
on.
so you guys there might be a tiny delay between you. So how about I'll count down, and when I say I'll go 3, 2, 1, go. When I say go, you guys say it. All right.
Okay.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
Bubba
Hocevar.
Wallace.
But
We
that's
are-
way different.
We are way different. I want a throwaway pick. I think Bubba's going to be solid at Vegas.
And that's why I picked him, because he finished in the top 5 in the last February race.
It's not a big
Yeah,
hitter.
but
Yeah, let's do
first 3
Bubba because
races-
it's not a big hitter.
Okay, I'm just not gonna research anybody on my computer. I'm gonna wait till it's my turn and just
It's your turn.
sit here. Okay, all right. So I'll start. I swear to goodness, I was really hoping a throwaway pick would have not have been Bubba Wallace.
I will say, Matt, to
How
come
good
with
throwaway.
8 points, only using Eric Jones
You
and
can
Daniel
afford.
Suarez.
He's
I
in a
think it's
pretty
really
good
good.
spot.
I think you can kind of just say this week might be a loss, honestly, and you can just throw someone out because, I'd say the favorites are probably Larson, Byron, and Logano.
Just throw it out Chase Elliott.
Yeah.
That's
He's
not
only hit a
throwaway.
drop that ain't been took.
Let me see here. How does he do here?
This is really good television, Matt.
Thank you. Yeah. Considering, I did not think Bubba was going to get taken. Oh, you know what? I'll go kind of a heavy hitter myself, just to make it interesting.
Okay.
I'm going to use Brad.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. I swear to God, if Brad wins this race and Matt
we're in-
takes a commanding lead, we're fucked.
Season
We're-
might be over.
It's pretty much over. We're all
We'll call
fucked.
it, yeah.
Season might be over. Good stat from Bradley. All right, he's
Yeah, I
going
would've-
at
I
me
was gonna
now.
pick Bell.
That's a good pick. I agree. He did almost win, that fall race. I don't really necessarily think of him as a heavy hitter yet, but mile and a half, I guess, have been pretty good for him recently. He won
I think it
Miami.
takes Toyota
their
a while to
last
get
year.
going in the seasons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yoda takes a minute.
All right, guys. Anything else you want to talk about before we get out of here? We've gone almost an hour and a half here, so.
Are we forgetting something? I feel like we're forgetting something.
Are we? Oh,
What is today?
So there's one thing that we say in the chat.
Matt, get your horn. Get your horn.
Oh, get the horn, Matt.
Get the horn.
Wait, I want the horn. We're gonna say mom
here
come
we
in
go.
drink again. Be like,
I gotta make sure he's watching.
Yep. How's it going?
we got a musical performance here by Mr. Matty.
In comments, I'll tag him in there. Tell him to get his little ass in here. We'll give him a minute before he gets in here.
Well, if you want to, while we're waiting for a minute, you want to talk about your win there last night in the CFRL race at Atlanta?
Whitman.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it was
Just for the heck of it.
It's a good race. It was definitely tough with the draft. It seemed like there was a group of like 10 of us kind of towards the front, and there was probably 5 or 6 people up there consistently.
I agree. Agreed.
I knew it.
Hey,
You took the heavy hitters out.
That's why.
right, yeah.
The pot.
Well, I think there was a group of about 10 people up there the whole time, so it was tough, kind of draft reliant, and it got pretty tough on pit entry.
Very tough on pit entry. 2 cautions
because we're all pitting at the same time, going 180 down to 45 in a very tight space, like a track, like the bigger tracks that have higher speeds like that, like a Michigan or a Fontana.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of space, so you can kind of get away with kind of spreading out on pit entry and being able to miss other cars. But my first 2 entries, I was getting hit in the pit road, and there were people wrecking behind me. So like I both times I pitted earlier in the race, cautions came immediately after. Tegan thankfully didn't hit me and swerved out of the way, and that caused a caution. And
yeah, it did.
I think
he repaid the favor.
that. But I got hit on that pit stop anyway. I think I forgot. I got hit by Wessel and Bradley on both of those pit stops, one each. And it's funky with that because not on their screen, hit them on mine, and the same thing happened with you and I through Bradley. Because on Bradley's screen, I got into him, which got him into you. But on my end, I was like a decent bit behind him, and also going another way, a little more to the left. It's just very finicky with that, and with how close it is, and with how high speed you are. That gets kind of challenging, but it was definitely a fun race for me, at least. And it's good to come out with the win there. Atlanta's a track that I consider myself to be good at. So definitely happy to get that win. Get the second one off the board pretty early. I've never won more than 3 in a year, so to have 2 in 7, I'm pretty happy with. So yeah, anybody else have thoughts on the race?
It was good, really draft reliant.
Yeah.
That's probably the main takeaway from it.
Yeah.
We're trying to fix that.
Yeah, and then everybody was just pitting, couldn't pit together. Well, I mean, everybody couldn't pit together, like couldn't make pitting together work, is what I should say, just because there were so many people pitting together at one time. Regardless of how
that could be a race. Originally I'm not in favor of, but after what we saw, that could be a race where we end up running like no draft on. Eventually,
or I think if we turn normal draft back on, I think that fixes it too. It's weird to say. So? I think so. Yes, I think normal draft would fix that at Atlanta. More wear.
Really?
Yeah,
that's fair. That's a good point. Yeah,
I think we have a better breakaway up in the front group.
I feel like we'd have to like test.
We are. I think me and Bradley discussed it a little bit. We're going to try the no draft things. I like the idea. It feels weird not to have no draft because that kind of does help people. Like, I want to be, if I'm close enough to pull up to you, but I can't suck up because, it's not there. Like, even with low draft, there is draft there with 2 people. It don't pop up on your screen. It's there, though. You can literally suck up to somebody's bumper with low draft with 2 people. Once you get 3 or more, and then it's basically like high draft to me. It actually kind of magnifies. It's weird. We start off in low draft to kind of help the dive bombing, And now I feel like everybody's gotten so used to it and good at it on not making moves to stay in the lead pack. Then everybody's just running in line, and everybody's in the same fuel mileage. Everybody's got to put on the same lap, and so then you have a shit fest. So
Yeah.
For sure. I'm just reading the live ticker down here on the bottom. Does anybody think Suarez isn't safe for another year?
I think he's got another year.
Did everybody agree with that? Yeah, I definitely think he's got at least one more after winning that race.
Spencer will be home in 4 minutes. Do we want to hang on for that?
Front Row Motorsports is for real. Yeah. I don't think Front Row Motorsports is for real. I think
we're going to see
where they're at this week.
John on certain weekends. I don't think they're top dog.
I think McDowell can be for real in getting into the playoffs. That I think so, but I just don't see it.
Only because we got 7 or 6 road courses.
Yeah, I just don't see it in Gilliland. But I feel like for these drafting type tracks, you're going to see Gilliland can win short tracks. Like he was really good on Bristol Dirt. I feel like he was pretty good there. So like I imagine like these shorter tracks he might be good at, and then they're both pretty good at these drafting type tracks. So they could both have a shot for sure at the next Daytona and then at both Talladega races. And then maybe even the next Atlanta race. But
yeah. What else is down there, Maddie, that we didn't get you to talk about? Because we'll have you stall for us and give us your opinions. Just talking about the race. What do you think of it? I thought the second half was exhilarating. Sal looks tired. Ryan's gone.
Yeah, I thought the second half was really good. Like I said in my little breakdown thing, I think the second half was really exciting.
Sally,
a little Mexican.
You weren't really able to. It was still really tough to pass. Like you needed someone behind you to push you in order to completely clear somebody, or just.
And what's weird about Atlanta being hard to pass is it's still easier to pass at Atlanta than I think it is at Daytona and Talladega. There is a third line.
Yeah.
There's just no bottom.
Right. Yeah, that's.
You mentioned it earlier, and nobody else had mentioned it. But if you notice when people dive bombing into the bottom and they would slide up, they're kind of actually forcing that car to slide up and scrub speed.
Staying in the middle.
So they can slide in front of them.
Yeah.
That's the only way you can pass for the lead, in my opinion, if you're on the bottom.
Yeah, it was really interesting to me on that last lap how Kyle Busch was able to make that move. Like make it as close as close as it was. Like to just send it in the middle and to keep it there was kind of freaking
That's all
crazy.
because Blaney didn't fucking
force him up he should have forced him up the track a little bit, and that probably would have sent Suarez into the wall along with probably Busch.
All right, Spencer's here.
Oh boy.
Now, there's one thing that we say every day.
Thank you, Spencer. Oh wait, that's not it.
Whatever. Rally said should have fenced him. He probably should have, honestly. If somebody held me like I held him towards the bottom, I would have probably hit him too. But we say one thing every day. And usually it's technically wrong. Right? I guess.
No.
Maybe. No, right.
No, it's never wrong. Come on.
Never wrong. We say it every day. But today isn't a day where it actually makes sense to say it. And if you look at our Discord chat, nobody said it. Now, that is
Discord's been down all day, guys.
Yeah. Sorry. Whoop. Nobody can message in there. Whoopsie. But there is one thing that we prevented everybody. This is a plan, just to pull your leg, Spencer. But now that you're here and we've got the podcast, I think, should we all say it on 3?
Yeah.
You
all
go?
Right. Yeah, I'll go 1, 2, 3, and then we say it, okay? All right. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday, Spencer. Whatever. What's 135 now?
Possible, dude.
Yeah, an old man. Happy birthday, Spencer. I think you're 32 actually, so I do hope you enjoy thanks, I guess.
Look at that, taking the spot,
by the way.
taking the spotlight off
And
of
away
himself.
from himself.
That
That
doesn't
is
happen
that-
very
A
often.
Spencer answer if I've ever seen one.
Yeah. Thanks. I didn't quite remember that actually, but I appreciate it. You're not going to say thanks to us saying happy birthday to you? We did.
Well,
we
I
went
mean,
down
Ah!
this ungrateful son of a
Wow.
bitch.
It's because the
Go
Mexicans
forward.
here and he doesn't like Mexicans.
Damn.
Like Bradley actually said, should offensed him. Should have fenced him would be a VE instead of an OF, but I understand the point. The sentiment is definitely taken. But thanks, guys. I said thank you. LOL. I hope you enjoy your birthday, Spencer. We'll unmute everybody on Discord in a minute here, and I assume the birthday wishes will come flooding in. Happy birthday, Ryan, according to Harris.
No, it is not
a new
mine.
trend.
Oh, is that the new trend?
God.
Happy birthday, Ryan!
No.
Happy birthday, Ryan.
Now that
All
we
Happy
right.
birthday,
legitimately
Puffin
celebrated
Parsons.
Birthday
Spencer's
boy, go
birthday,
puff
we gotta have
some.
somebody else.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Ryan.
God.
Say thank you.
The whole
asshole.
spotlight's on you now, man.
Oh man. All right, guys. Again, everybody. Get out of here. It went way too long. Tegan said before this, let's keep this short. We did not.
And every time I say that, I jinx it. So
Yeah.
You were talking the most. So,
sorry.
Yeah. When he
so thank you guys. I appreciate it. Happy birthday to you, Spencer. We will see you back next week after Las Vegas.